Well, hello YouTube. This is Chuck, and it's Monday, May 19th, 2025, about 6 o'clock in the evening. And as you can see, I'm out here in the van/recording studio. And if you notice the light changing a little bit, it's kind of windy outside, and it's changing the lighting of the sun coming through the branches of the trees. But figured I'd bring you up to date a little bit. It's been kind of a busy day, and number one, I've got to go to the hospital for a little bit of a procedure in the morning, and so I had to stay home all day. But I've had quite a bit of activity on the phones and texting and comments on my videos, and a couple of them are pretty interesting. I thought I'd share them with you. The first thing this morning, I got up and almost immediately started getting text messages from my friend up in Utah, and also from a lady that lives in western Nevada in the Reno area, and I call her Elaine. And they both started texting me at the same time, telling me about something that happened during the night and this morning. Let me start out with Elaine, and she said that she'd got up during the night and to use a little room down the hall like we all have to do. And when she laid back down, she was awake, so she kind of reached out and asked if there's anybody out there that would like to chat. And she said she laid there for a little bit, and all of a sudden she got just clear as a bell. She got a mind speak that said, "Greetings from the Petaluma marshes." Well, she knew that Petaluma was a town in California, but she'd never been there, and she didn't know anything about any marshes there. So she looked it up online, and sure enough, there's a place called the Petaluma Marshes, which is a wildlife area. And so somebody apparently reached out to her and said hello from there, and she thought that was pretty cool, and she wanted to share that with me. Well, that happened early this morning, and so anyway, my friend in Utah, what he wanted to tell me about was that Roheen has been, I've talked about Roheen before, and Roheen shows up almost every morning, gives him a little bit of a training lesson of some kind. And my last video, I mentioned about some of that stuff, and this morning he had a pretty unique one as well. And Roheen basically gave him another memory movie and took him out, and he showed him a group of explorers. And it turned out they told him it was the Lewis and Clark expedition. Well, the Lewis and Clark expedition lasted about 3 years, and so my friend asked him. He said, was your ancestors, were they there to see this? Roheen said yes. And he said, so you take them back and through portals to be able to witness this? Yes. So that's quite amazing. Well, one of the things he said, he showed him the expedition at several different locations, mostly out on the prairie. But one of the other things he noticed was that their Indian guide, Sacagawea, said that they pointed out, and he noticed that she was pregnant. Well, he thought that was pretty remarkable, but he'd never heard about that before. So when he got done, he actually looked it up, and sure enough, during part of that trip, she was pregnant. And he actually saw that this morning in a memory movie that he was given as part of the lesson that Roheen gave him this morning. That was pretty remarkable, and he wanted to make sure to tell me about that. So I spoke with him. He texted me, and I spoke with him later on the phone. Well, last evening I got a email from a lady back in New Jersey, and she wanted to send me some pictures, and she wanted to talk to me on the phone. So I didn't get back with her yesterday, but I did later on this morning. I went ahead and responded to her email, gave her my cell phone number, and so she texted me 15 pictures of some stuff that she discovered back there in New Jersey. And it was stick structures and X's and things like that she discovered in the woods. And she said she'd call me a little bit later on and we'd talk. Well, then a little bit later, I got another email, and this is from a fellow from Texas who actually came out here and met with me a while back, and he had some interesting stuff to tell me about, to show me as well. And he hadn't had a lot of contact lately, and he was a little concerned about that, and I told him, well, that happens. They'll go sometimes for weeks without really reaching out to you, but when they're ready, they'll contact you and they'll talk to you. So anyway, and he sent me some pictures. He sent me some pictures as well. And one of the pictures he sent me is a bear skull that was stuck up on a tree limb, about 6 foot up in the air, and no other bones around. None of the rest of the skull there, or skeleton there at all. Just the skull. Still had some hide on it. It wasn't really that old. And could a human have done that? Yeah, I suppose they probably could have. But and then right below it, there was two round piles of sticks. And the sticks were all interwoven and intertwined and stuff. And so I don't know what that meant, but I think it probably did mean something. And the fact that there was no other bones from that skeleton around from that bear, just the skull, and it was stuck on a stub of a tree about 6 feet off the ground. And I thought that was pretty interesting as well. So anyway, I contacted him back and I told him that, yeah, I experienced that too. I'll go for sometimes weeks at a time without any contact. And all of a sudden one day they'll show up and start contacting me again. So it's always natural for us to be concerned and think, well, maybe we did something wrong and offended them. And I thought too, maybe that thing about, maybe they were mad at me because of that thing over the screenplay for the movie, but that's behind me now, and I don't know why they'd still be mad at me about that. But anyway, I've started getting activity again too, so I guess for whatever reason, I guess dry spells ended, and they're starting to communicate with me again. Well, then got another email from a lady out of Alaska with a couple of questions, another viewer and friend, and so I responded to her and tried to answer her questions this afternoon. She immediately responded back to me. Well, then the lady from New Jersey, she ended up calling me this afternoon. I had quite a conversation with her, and she'd been driving about an hour to a place out in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey, and she thought that was where she really needed to go, and she's been practicing meditation, and so she knew about that, and she hadn't really felt like she's really been getting anywhere. Well, I asked her where she was right now, and I thought she was home, and she said no, she's about 5 minutes away from her house. She's at a park and by a lake. And I said, well, let's try something. And so I went through the same process I've done with so many other people. And the first thing I did ask them is if they would do something to her to give her the tingle, to let her know that they were there. And well, try as she might, she wasn't really getting anything, and that's not real unusual. So then I come back with the second question, which I always ask, and of course I preface that with I'm going to ask a question that involves a number, and you may get the number before I'm done asking the question. And she immediately, before I even started asking the question, she got number 3. And so I asked the question, how many of you are here right now? Well, confirm, number 3. There's 3 of them there. So then I asked, as I always do, I said, are any of you willing to tell us your name? And she immediately got George. Now, I didn't get either one of those things. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But in this case, I didn't. But she immediately got the name George. And she thought, well, did I just invent that name or something? I said, trust your instincts. It popped into your head. You had your mind blank. So we asked George. I said, George, can you tell us how old you are? 14. We get a lot of 14-year-olds, it seems like. So asked George, I said, are any of your other ones there will give us their name? Nola. Nola. Sounds like a female. How old is Nola? 16. Oh. Is Nola your sister? No answer. Is Nola a member of your family group? Yes. So once again, the lady from New Jersey there, she was kind of blown away by all this, because there was no doubt in her mind she was getting that, because she'd cleared her mind. And and it's always initially we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust that that's really happening. We think we somehow invented that. And that's just human nature. That's just the way we are. And we'll continue to do that. But once again, in a period of about 3 or 4 minutes, we were able to confirm that she got mind speak. We were able to confirm that they were there, and we got 2 names, both of them juveniles. And it's just really, she was kind of blown away, like everybody always is when that happens. And I think that's so cool. I'm always appreciate it when I can help people do that. So just a little bring you up to date on this stuff that's just happened today. And it's been a busy day. And I'm way behind on comments, so if I haven't answered your comment yet, don't be mad at me. I did have one comment on my last video that said they hadn't heard from me for so long, they're getting ready to send a posse out after me. And that kind of made me smile. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up so I can get it uploaded tonight. And as I always tell you, take care of each other, love each other, and wish me luck on my medical procedure tomorrow. I don't anticipate any issues. And I'll when it's all over with, if everything's fine, I'll tell you what it was. And I think I talked about it. And yeah, I did talk about it in my post this morning. So I'll tell you up front, it's a colonoscopy. So I had to go through all that preparation stuff for the colonoscopy and a date with a jug full of foul tasting liquid. And it ain't any fun, but it's over with. And so far I'm doing okay. And so I got to be over to the hospital at 7:15 in the morning, and they're going to get me in. I think I'm the first one. So we'll get her done. We'll hope everything's fine. And I'll let you know. So once more, I don't remember whether I said it or not, but take care of each other and love each other. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for your health. There's a lot of people who have less than you do and are not in as good a health as you are. And overall, compared with what some of the world's going through, our life is pretty good. So until I talk to you again, let me just tell you, peace out.